Tonight on Politically Incorrect, from Inside Edition, Deborah Norville. From The Drew Carey Show, Diedrich Bader. From HBO's Mr. Show, Bob Odenkirk. And America's road rage therapist, Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. And now, the star of Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher.
He is a clinical psychologist and America's road rage therapist, Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. Hey, Bill. Doc, nice to meet you. Sure. All right. Well, you know that the first thing we're going to talk about is this road rage. How many people drove here tonight? Let me ask you that. How many? Okay. Did any of you get pissed off on the way over? Well, Doc, you've got a lot of cases here, because according to you, this is a certifiable mental illness known as road rage.
That's right, and people get very angry when they hear that. I mean,
I get angry when I hear
you get angry when you hear it. And probably you have a certain amount of road rage. Road rage get really angry when they hear about it.
I got road rage from Bill.
Is that right?
I caught it from him backstage.
Well, I tell you, people get very... In fact, I was on one show, they were interviewing me from Phoenix, and they said, Dr. Nerenberg, this is nuts that you're considering this to be a mental disorder. In fact, you're nuts. And they said, everybody who considers Dr. Nerenberg nuts, please call in. And a lot of people call in and say, you're nuts.
Yeah.
There was no problem getting... There's a lot of defensiveness. Every time there's a medical disease,
Doc,
somebody
you
comes
are
up
nuts.
with... Thank you. Thank you. I needed that.
Is there a drug that you can take for road rage?
Well,
I
it's
mean,
not,
isn't that like
it's not a
against the law?
drug. It's not a legal
Tylenol,
defense.
Couldn't you, like, stay out of your car and be cured?
Well, people can just decide, I'm not going to express my rage to other drivers. That's all they have to do.
You know, isn't this just a way to avoid responsibility?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Personal
For
responsibility.
being frustrated, you know, and the
I'm
fact
not a
is...
jerk. I just have road rage. It's a clinical disease.
I get calls from attorneys all the time wanting to use it as a defense. I say, no, there's individual responsibility. You're responsible for this. And that's the
But
bottom
why
line.
is it a clinical mental illness?
Well, it's an adjustment reaction. It qualifies under the criteria of adjustment reactions.
Adjustment reaction?
There's already a category.
Hey, hold on with the...
Okay.
Speak in layman's terms.
Okay. All right, it's a certifiable mental disease. Okay, it's
Okay,
a
but
mental
who
problem.
certifies it? You've certified it.
Yeah.
But
Well, if you
who
show
are you
road
to
rage,
certify
well,
it? I
it's
mean, you're not
certainly
the
mild.
American Mental Health Association.
No,
You're one
that's
guy.
right. Nobody. It's not. Well, there is a case called adjustment reaction with disturbance of conduct. That's already accepted.
Let me-
with
let me-
recreational
I'm
driving
going to
there.
back him up just because I feel this is unfair.
Okay, we're all attacking him.
And our team is never going to win if I don't join
I
in.
appreciate it.
But
People
there's
get pretty
comfort in
mad
company.
about this.
Let me read the 4 stimuli
Yeah.
of road rage. You feel endangered by others driving. Well, who doesn't? When
That's
you
the
pull out of
number one. That's the number one cause of road rage. That's number
That's
one.
the number one cause.
Yeah, right.
If you're driving a 3-ton vehicle.
That's life, man.
Well, when you feel endangered, people go flipping each other off, shooting each other on occasion, ramming each other. Because we have
On
29,000
occasion, and they're criminals.
Well, you know how many episodes we have a year might surprise you. In the study I did, we have 1.78 billion episodes of road rage a year. 53% of Americans have the problem. They exhibit the behavior 27 times a year.
100% of Americans have the problem.
No, Americans
rush
have
hour.
road annoyance.
No.
Road
Listen.
annoyance is
There are
different
as
from road rage.
many mental disorders as there are people.
Yes.
Okay? I have Bob Odenkirkism. and someday I'm going to die from it.
Okay.
But it is not... It is no excuse for anything I do, you know? And if I'm hyperactive and I can't handle frustration and be mature about it...
You should take responsibility for it. Yeah, right.
But-
It's not an excuse. And I agree with you. We all have episodes of
Doc, you
insanity.
can't have it both ways. You can't say it's a mental disorder and then say you have to take responsibility for
Why
it.
not?
Because if it's a mental disorder, then you can bill your insurance company for it, and you know that.
Well,
so you're
insurance
trying to
companies-
play both ends of it, and that's not going to
Insurance
play on
companies
this show.
I'm going to back you up. Insurance companies won't pay for it.
Here's
I mean,
what-
most adjustment reactions they won't pay for, so
Here's
that's not
what
an
bums
issue.
me about this. I mean, okay, fine. You say it's a clinical disease, and maybe insurance companies are going to pay for it.
They won't.
But all of those personal injury lawyers who've been
Yeah.
calling you are going to start using it as a defense, and because you've classified it and you're a clinical psychologist, somebody's going to slip it in, and somebody's going to get off for murdering somebody on the road
Well,
because
so-
you invented this malady
Well,
called
that's
road
what I
rage.
keep telling people.
You're a killer.
People like, you know, everybody that's against calling it a mental disease, raise your hand. So they're all against it. Nobody's for this hardly. But see, that's the problem. That's why they had a lot of people calling in and say, yeah, you're nuts, Dr. Nerenberg. But you know, it existed before I came along. It was an adjustment reaction with disturbance of conduct and reckless driving. So it was already there. All I've done is
What's
elaborate.
the difference between, look, I got 3 kids at home. I know about rage, okay?
Right.
What's the difference between mommy rage and road rage, except I'm not in my car?
Right.
Well, with the road rage, a number of things. One, it's a
pedestrian
maladaptive reaction, an overreaction. If you started hitting your kids and abusing them, then if your rage got to that point,
But
we're
that's against the
endangering them.
law.
Yeah, and it's an endangerment.
Right.
And in this
It's the
case,
same thing as getting out of your car and slamming someone with a golf club. If you
Yeah.
do it, then your frustration level has gone to the point where you're not civilized anymore.
qualifies-
And that's where the law steps
Well,
in and
so-
says, shut the hell up.
we certainly need legal consequences. A maladaptive reaction to an identifiable psychosocial stress that interferes with social
You know,
relations.
Are
The
you
whole
guys
thing's
getting
there.
this down for when
Yeah.
next
I
time
was
you get
following
stopped
it,
by
yeah.
a cop? It's a maladjusted reaction. I got a social
But you wonder, why is there so much resistance?
Be on your way, sir.
You know
Why
what
is there such a resistance to it? If we came up with, when physicians came up with carpal tunnel syndrome, we came up with saying there's AIDS, there wasn't all this
Yeah,
fuss
but
about
they
it.
use carpal tunnel syndrome to get off from committing crimes. Nobody commits a crime because they were on
Well,
their
I
computer
don't think
for too
somebody
long.
should get off from a committee when they do. It's an adjustment reaction. It's not a psychosis. It's not like, gee, I'm psychotic, and he looked at me and he was sending death beams to me, so to protect mankind and myself, I killed him. Well, that's a psychosis.
Give me some other examples of
Okay, but I have
maladjusted
to
reactions.
wait, I gotta take a
I
break.
have that,
We'll get back to this in a second. All right, we were talking about road rage, and Doc, you know, I apologize. We all came at you.
I don't mind it. To be
No,
honest with you, I
mean,
really don't mind it at all.
honestly, I think
Yeah.
you're part of the problem. but it's not just you. And let me broaden this out, because it is a bigger problem, which is, you got it, it's responsibility. It's the fact that it seems like everything that used to be a sin is now a disease, and that whatever is wrong with you, you do not take personal responsibility, and people sense that society is crumbling for this. Let me list some of the things. Attention deficit disorder, you can blame something on. Too much caffeine. The Twinkie defense.
Twinkie
A guy-
defense was bizarre. That was bizarre.
Right, it's too
Yeah.
much sugar. I didn't know what I was doing. People who are chronically late, nicotine, eating disorders, wearing women's clothing.
But some of these categories are really helpful, like ADHD, attention deficit disorder. If you didn't have that, I think a lot of parents would just abuse the heck out of their kids. They say, I'm going to put up, I want to just strangle you. They're very hard to tolerate. They say, I'm going to accept this because I know you have an attention deficit disorder. It makes
Every
you kinder.
child has an attention deficit
Well, not
disorder.
really.
It's called being a child, right?
You've never been
Mom,
around.
tell us.
But
You
no,
just had a...
that's the point that you said, that so many people have road rage just means that it doesn't exist.
It just means
Yeah,
it's
that's
human
right. Attention
nature.
deficit disorders means you watch too much television, you look out your window, you know you're a kid. Do you take a drug for attention
Well, I
deficit
tell you, if
disorder?
somebody's been around a child with attention deficit disorder, you wouldn't be having this conversation. That child will drive you out of your mind.
I'm with the doctor on this one.
I've had patients
Really?
want to strangle their kids. They don't like them. And, you know, the label helps a little bit. I'm not a big diagnostician. I don't like diagnostics. And I'm in a position of justifying diagnostics, which is strange for me. But you say, okay, my son, my
You're not
child
even
has...
really a doctor, right?
No, that's just it. I'm not really not.
He's an actor like you and me.
I mean, you sound like Joey Buttafuoco, quite frankly.
It makes you more tolerant. You can say, well, listen, he has this disorder. We'll try to be a little more compassionate. And that helps. So if a diagnosis does that, that's
Nobody's
helpful.
going to be compassionate for somebody who says, I'm suffering from road rage.
No, as a matter of fact, that's a very serious
you know,
disorder. It leads to, I mean, we had
in 10
29,000
years-
deaths due to aggressive driving last year in America. We shouldn't be compassionate. There should be very
I
strict
bet
legal
you
consequences.
when they first used the term kleptomaniac, and we all have become used to that. Oh, he's a kleptomaniac.
Yeah.
But I think when they first used it, somebody must have said, oh, you mean he's a thief?
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't it all start with kleptomaniac?
Yeah.
Don't you think that's
Was
where
that
it
the
all...
first one?
I'm guessing. That's
Well,
my
it's-
theory.
it's,
Because a
I think
kleptomaniac...
You know,
Cuckoo
as we come to the end of the century,
He's a cuckoo bird.
we come to the end of the century, I think a lot of personal relations were defined by Freud, and all of this started this way by saying you're not responsible for your actions because your mother did this, and a lot of it is very valid, but your mother did this, or your father neglected you, or you were beaten, or whatever. But you have to get, I guess, the thing that a lot of people are missing from Freudian analysis is that you're supposed to recognize that, realize that, and then move on.
You know
I think what a lot of people do is they never move on.
It's
They
true.
say, hey, that's my problem.
Right.
You know, you can't arrest me, I'm a kleptomaniac. Come on, it's okay. Look, I got a little card.
Yeah.
And
It's time to stop blaming. It's time to stop blaming our parents, you know, and start blaming the government.
It's something in the water.
No,
They're putting it in the water system. It's drugging us all.
But why didn't you name this disease after you?
Oh, the Nerenberg.
Why do you call it Nerenberg syndrome?
Yeah, right.
Well, for
It's
one
such a
thing,
perfect name for that.
if we excuse behaviors because somebody has a disorder, we can destroy society with that. I don't say it's an
Let's go.
excuse.
We
for what's
are
going on.
destroying society.
And people, there has to be
We
a
are.
responsibility for what we're doing. Period. Whether the person has a disease or
Doc,
not.
you have
Yeah.
both. You have one it both ways disorder.
Yeah.
And I
ways,
think
one
that's a
equal
very dangerous thing that
No,
you
I think
should
One of the
address.
things, I think
person
one
has
of
a
the things
disorder-
society needs is
That's
a
called
sense of...
Clinton's disease.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we got to take a
I
break.
think one of the things will be okay.
All right, let us talk about the big scientific news of this week, which was that women can now have their eggs frozen. I left
Their own eggs.
Their
They
yeah, that's
have
what
them
that
fried or over easy. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. Sorry for a pun. All right, got the puns out of the way.
means. Well, you know what? I didn't even know a lot about this because when we were in health class, they made the boys leave the room.
Yeah.
When the stuff about
Oh,
women.
please. You guys bought those books that they gave us, and you know that. You left
No,
the
we bought
room.
different books.
They
I
gave us little
never
books, and you
covered
guys
eggs.
offered big money to buy those books from us in 5th grade, right?
I swear to God, when they talked about women's eggs until a few days ago, I pictured two
Over easy.
eggs in your stomach. I had no idea. But now before they could freeze sperm and they could freeze embryos. Now they can freeze eggs. The implication is that a woman can have her eggs frozen when she's young and they're good, and then later on she can have her whole career, and then when she's 40 say, well, now I'll retrieve my eggs, they're in the freeze place, and get pregnant and have children from 40 to 60 because I've already, been the Attorney General or whatever she did in her life. Whatever.
Just hypothetically.
I'm just saying.
Hypothetically.
It has great implications for this you can have it all society where women want to have a career and you just had a baby.
I just had a baby, and you'd have to be nuts to do what you're talking about. I don't know any woman who is going to, first of all, be planning her life so
Oh, they do?
meticulously
But
that
I
at
know
age
women
20
that
she's
wish
going
they
to
had
have her
done that.
eggs pulled out.
You do?
Yes, I have one patient. I know she would like to because she can't conceive now. She's in her early 40s. If she had eggs frozen in, and she spent $15,000 on adoption agency, $15,000 on fertility clinics. This person, and she's a beautiful
What's she
person.
seeing you for?
Well, for other issues, certain marital issues, not for this. But she gets very
I'd
sad
To
about
drive
it.
around to all the clinics.
I can't have a baby.
Yeah, and I'm sure she wishes.
eat this.
I'm sure she wishes she had done that, many years ago when she was younger, to have had them frozen. There's nothing nightmarish about this cloning now and then taking parts off of the clones. That's scary. This isn't
But
scary.
isn't
You
it?
can't tell me that being 47 years old and having a nursing baby isn't a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a
plus,
Plus, when
nightmare.
they get into college,
Hopefully,
you're so old.
someday we'll be able to freeze children and
And leave them there.
Let them
we
grow.
can just enjoy them for a while, put them
holidays.
away.
For turkey. You want another one? Yeah. No, that's
But
good.
nursing at 47 and having a baby, that's, maybe that's difficult. But for a woman who really wants a child and feels unfulfilled because she never had a child, that's sad. If
But
she
what
could have
about
frozen
nature?
her eggs.
Doesn't nature have some say in this?
Yeah, I
Isn't
think there's
nature
a natural
saying,
progression that your life has, and that you should have your child in that time, and
We keep
that's just what you
moving
should
the
do. You should
clock.
get what were her priorities? She's got to learn to deal with that.
Well, meantime, what's
Get her out
natural?
here.
We have the technology. We have
Put
the
her on the road.
technology to do it, and why not? I mean,
No,
there's a lot of women
Just
want to have
because
that
we
technology.
have the
Do a lot of creepy
technology
stuff.
doesn't
Well,
mean we
yeah,
should use
thank
it.
you.
I think it's kind of like God testing us. God's going to let us invent all
Right.
these technologies,
Like the
and then he's
Tower of
gonna
Babel,
go,
yeah.
do you use it or not?
Right.
You use
Well,
it.
I don't find it scary. But what's scary is that cloning and maybe cloning a person and keep taking organs. That scares me.
We talked about that
yeah,
last
I remember
night.
I
think
watched
that-
it. That's a scary
organs
one.
is-
That
cloning
is-
organs,
but this
I think,
is
is fine, and that would
Organ,
be
we're
great.
not cloning a partial person and
You know
taking
what?
organs.
There's
That's
one
scary.
in 400 people is a twin, and that's closer than any cloning is ever going to get. That's the chromosomally they're perfect match.
How
And
about
it
just
already happens.
everybody live while you live and
Yeah,
die when you die?
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's sort of like taking a commercial. You just got to do it.
Join us tomorrow when our guests will be Jim Hightower, Governor Frank Keating, Andy Richter, and Maria Conchita Alonso.
All right, we were talking about tampering with the life cycle and so forth, and I think one of the problems why people don't avert themselves from this is that people don't read anymore. It used to be people would read like books and plays like Frankenstein and stuff that warned them that, hey, you don't do this, because then look at the bad, you know. If you'd read Frankenstein, Doc, you've read that.
I haven't. No, I haven't read Frankenstein.
Second year of
but
medical school.
I haven't read Frankenstein.
You just have to read the Bible.
Hate to disappoint you, but I didn't read it. No.
The Bible has a story about the Tower of Babel, that science and
Thank
engineers
you.
built this tower
Yes.
higher and higher and higher, and God smote it. It smote it.
Smote it?
Smote, yes.
Smote it down.
He was pissed. God was... Yes, and right. People used to read these things and they would go, oh, you know what? Humans shouldn't venture into this
That's
area.
right. Forbidden territory.
Yeah, because the apple. What the hell was that?
I've only read the illustrated Bible because I can't read words.
Oh,
I
the
need
Tower of
pictures.
Babel's in that. That's what
Right.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Smote. It was
It's
smoted.
all about responsibility, though. I mean, I was just talking to the doctor. No, I mean about freezing your.